So right here we go. The today's question. Problem of the day 2943 maximize area of square hole in grid. Okay. You are given two integers n and m and two integers h bar v bar. The grid has n plus 2 horizontal and m plus 2 vertical bars creating 1 into 1 unit cell. The bars are indexed starting from 1. Okay. Now you can say that you can remove some of the bars in h bars from horizontal bars and some of the bar in v bars from vertical bars. Okay, h means horizontal bar, v means vertical bar, that we understand. And then return an integer denoting the maximum area of square shaped hole in a grid after removing some bars, possibly none. This is the example. N is equal to 2m1, h bars 2 3 and v bars 2 1. Let's I understand the question what he says, right? Let me explain to you. So firstly, if we think about the intuition, right? So first thought is to try to remove a bar or two and find what does it change. So if you remove sorry sorry if you remove h bars, so we notice that there would be four cells with the area of 2 each, right? For example, this 1 2 3 4 and here we go 1 2 3 4 5, right? But what we need is a square, not a rectangle, right? So the only way to make these rectangles into a square is by removing a vertical bar, right? As of now, if we remove any of the vertical bar, so we will get 2 into 2, right? Though similarly considering removing h bars 2 and 3, right? If we, if you imagine 2 into 3, right? So let's think like we will now 4 cells of area 3 each, but if we need make square out of this, so we need to remove at least 2 v bars so that we can make a square 3 into 3, right? But we have to remove consecutive v bars since removing 2 and 4 won't work, as that would give us 2 cells of 3 into 2 area, right? So after through this we can infer that we need to find the length of longest consecutive sequence of bars that can be removed from both arrays. So let's say if we have the length of the longest consecutive sequence as 3 into 3 and 2, right? And we can then have the largest square 3 into 3. So we will take the minimum of both lengths, right? And why did we add 1? Because if we remove one bar, so we give rise to 2 area cells. If we remove 2 bars, so we give rise to 3 area cells, and so on. So removing n bars would give us a cell area n plus 1, right? So how do we approach? Approach is simple. Initialize, firstly initialize variables, then sort the h bars and v bars, right? So that's why we can find the longest consecutive sequence, and then we iterate over the both arrays and find the length of current sequence. And if it's greater than previous max, and update max, else make temporary is equal to 1, right? And lastly find the length of minimum longest consecutive sequence of both arrays and 1. So our square is 1, right? Is- Our square is square length into square length, and the time complexity is like we go h log h plus v log v, and space complexity is big O 1, right? PO1, and then we have to do the code. One second, let's do the code, right? And then arrays arrays dot sort कर देंगे, then we h bars, and then after arrays sort v bars. After that, int length is equal to bars, like h bars, right, dot length, and then int temp h. One second, guys. So there are some error, like we added some video, right? So now it is okay. Int temp h equal to 1, and temp v is equal to 1, right? And for int 2 लगाएंगे, and then for int 14 पे कर देता हूँ. For int I less than math dot max h length to v length I plus 1. I less than h dot length होगा, and bars I h bars I minus 1. Like else if less than h dot length, then max color or max consecutive h bars math dot max consecutive h bars and temp h. Less than v dot length कर दिया, I minus v bars I minus 1 is equal to 1, right? Temp v increment, and else if I less than v not length, then max consecutive v bars equal to math dot max consecutive v bars लिख देंगे और temporary v, right? And after that max consecutive h bars is equal to math dot max math dot v bars and temp h equal to max then int s square equal to math dot min, so max consecutive h bars max consecutive v bars plus, then we have to return square, right? Square because square formula is side into side. Let's run the code. Error. H bar capital. Okay then.